I have recently been using my iPad more to do quick art hang party drawing sessions and things like that. Scribble Brigades with Sophie McPike, Introvert Drawing Club with Beth Spencer. Just really fast timed drawings, so like 1 to 5 minute drawings at a time. And I used to get so caught up in I couldn't draw fast on my iPad. I just felt like it was too easy to undo everything. Everything had to be perfect. And so I have come up with 5 things that I've done to make my fast drawing time easier. So I'm just going to start by making a new canvas, 2048 by 2048 pixels. I just have one saved here. So there we are. The first thing I'm going to suggest is turning off double tap to undo. So normally when you write something in Procreate, if you double tap, it will undo. There's always the undo button over here. So I can't turn that off. I try not to use it, but you can turn off the double tap to undo by going into your preferences, gesture controls, and then under general, disable, undo, and redo. 2-finger and 3-finger tap will not undo or redo. So make sure that that is toggled on so that you can't double tap to undo. Perfect. Next, this button here, this one right here, see this little square right in the middle of the size and the opacity dials, whatever you want to call them, sliders. This button, I had no idea what the purpose of that button was before, but I have set it to be my eraser. So instead of coming up here, clicking on the eraser, coming back down here, my left hand is never doing anything. So what I've done is I have set this to be my eraser. And you can, by long pressing on the eraser, just FYI, you can change the eraser to the current brush that you're using. So I'm using the dry ink brush, modified. But yeah, so press and hold this little square, and then you can erase. And I'll show you how I set that up. Again, the little wrench icon, gesture controls, erase. And then I turned on this square plus Apple Pencil. So Apple Pencil, while square is held, will always erase. So if I turn that on, I have no idea what the original purpose of that square is, but I find this to be really helpful because, like I said, my left hand is never doing anything. And I did not turn on the square plus touch because I don't want my fingers to do anything while I'm using Procreate. They can zoom, which I try not to do. If you could turn off zoom, I would turn off zoom. One other thing that I've done is back under gesture controls, draw and hold. So draw and hold to make the shape from that stroke. So I'm going to turn that on just to show you what I mean. So I'm going to do a line. Then I'm going to hold it and see now it's like a perfectly straight line. If I press my finger down, it'll snap it to, I think it's 15-degree intervals. There's my perfectly wonky line, which I want wonky lines. So again, if I do a circle and press and hold, see now I can resize that. If I put my finger down, it makes it a perfect circle. That's fine. If I'm working on an illustration project or something like that, I'm doing my sketch and I want to make sure that my lines are straight and everything, fine. But for quick drawing, no thank you. I want my circles perfectly wonky and my lines wonky. The third thing that I do, if we're talking numbers here, is I only use one brush at a time, and my favorite for drawing and coloring is the dry ink brush. And I've done a couple of things in the primarily one thing in the dry ink brush is under stabilization, this streamline amount and stabilization amount, turn it off, make it none. So what that does is if you have streamline on, let's see if it kind of makes your line not exactly following your hand. So maybe that's, if I turn it all the way up, maybe that'll show better. Can you kind of see how like that line's too perfect? I don't like that. I don't want my lines to be perfect. So if I turn that all the way down, then I do the same thing, you'll see it's like, feels like it was hand drawn, which is what I'm after. So I do that actually with all of my brushes, is turn that off, the streamline and stabilization, gone, don't want it. Number 4 is I use a limited color palette. So what I do there is on a layer, a clean layer. Let me go to my Neocolor colors because those are the ones that I use all the time. So I'm just going to do a quick example of a color palette. So I just grab colors, whichever I think I want to use for the day. Let's not be too picky. And just quickly blob them. No, this one's better. These are colors that I made from Neocolor 2 swatches. One of my favorite mediums to use traditionally, is really fun to replicate here digitally. So there's my color palette. So now that lives on its own layer. I'll lock it, and then brings us to my next tip. Number 5 is to set up layers ahead of time. So we have our color palette here. You can change the name to color palette if you want to be picky about it. And then for the sessions where we're doing like a whole bunch of drawing, I just add a ton of layers. And then it comes time to draw something. We're gonna draw something. Oh, look, time's up. I hide that layer. I go to the layer below that. And then we draw something else. Time's up. Next layer, and so on and so on. And then when you are drawing and you want to change colors, you're only working with these colors. Right? Blah, blah, blah. And you can change the size quite easily of your brush. So say you want to do like a big blob of color and then you want to come back and you do an outline. Then I usually just draw right on top. I don't know what I'm drawing here. But say I wanted to color in these like behind the blue, I'll just go to the next layer down under that, and then I'll do that, and you can see like it's below that layer. And then when that timer is up, I pinch those two together, and then that is just one drawing that I did. So again, hide, we come do our drawing, again selecting our colors, hide, and the next and the next. Beautiful drawings. And then that's basically it. After the end of the session, if I want to make a collage of my drawings, which I usually do for sharing on social, I'll just show them and kind of arrange them in a way that fits. And there you go. You can swipe to select multiple layers there and just kind of position it. And there, there's my collage. And then you can export that by clicking on the wrench here, share, and then downloading a JPEG or PNG or whatever it is that you want to share on social. Beautiful drawings. Not the point. The point is setting yourself up to draw as quickly as possible without feeling the need to be so precious and precise. Anyway, I hope that was helpful and interesting. If you have any questions, let me know. But just to recap, my top 5 pieces of advice and tips for drawing quickly and not being so precious on your iPad is turn off double tap to undo, set the erase button shortcut, only use one brush, limit your color palette, and set your layers ahead of time. I hope that was helpful, and I will see you soon, hopefully at our hang party where you can draw very quickly on your iPad. Bye. Oh, bonus tip. Get a nice, doesn't have to be anything fancy, but get a skin for your pencil. The Apple Pencil without a skin on it is really uncomfortable to hold. It's a bit slippery. It's a bit too thin. This is just a cheapo thing I got from Amazon. I think it came in a 2-pack. It's cute, but it's like a silicone, so it's got some grip on it. I can draw with this thing for hours when I'm working on illustration projects. I find it so handy. You can even use one of those like grade school pencil things, but this one I can still charge through it. So yes, that's it. Okay, I'll see you later.